everyone! I decided to start a new series on my channel about how I've been using ChatGPT in my own language learning routine. And I know that there are a gazillion ways you can use it for foreign languages, but I wanted to specifically share those that really worked for me. So I guess you can expect a follow-up video in this series in a few months' time, but for now, this is how I've been using ChatGPT for the past 9 months. I will start by saying that for me, the beauty of ChatGPT can be described in one word: customization. Things that you previously needed a multitude of different books and resources for can now be substituted by ChatGPT alone. And this is great both in terms of saving you money, but also time. You no longer need to spend hours on the internet looking for a perfect resource now that you can program ChatGPT to give you exactly what you want in no time. Now, let's dive into it. A few weeks ago, I made a video on why you should make a proper monolingual dictionary your best friend. If you haven't checked it out, the link should be somewhere here. Anyway, dictionaries are a fantastic resource that I swear by. But what about the times when the dictionary is just not enough? Sometimes you're looking for a word or an expression that is far too tricky, far too niche, and you need more example sentences to be able to use it confidently in your daily life. And this is where ChatGPT comes in, because you can ask it for as many example sentences as you need to be able to use it and not misuse it. And assuming that the word you're looking for has multiple meanings, you can even ask ChatGPT to give you example sentences for a specific meaning or for a specific use of this word. Now, isn't this wonderful? You can truly tailor it and play around with it as much as you want. Now, let's look at it in reverse. Because you can simply ask ChatGPT to explain the meaning and the usage of a word in a specific sentence where you found it. I mean, let's be real, sometimes you do not need to know 20 different meanings of a word, you only need one. And ChatGPT is the best person for this job. Well, not a person, but you know what I mean. I also love using it to explain the subtle differences between synonyms, especially when it comes to figuring out how to use them in an appropriate context. Let's take the words tired, exhausted, and wiped out as an example. Now, you can clearly feel a chasm between a simple tired and a wiped out. But not only that, there is a specific time and place for each one of them. You can tell your friend that you are wiped out after a finals week or after a party, but you cannot say that you're wiped out to a colleague. You see what I'm getting at? Again, let's reverse engineer this process. If you looked up a word that is decidedly informal, you can even ask ChatGPT to give you its formal or, let's say, neutral counterpart that is suitable for the majority of situations. You can even type in your own example of a situation and ask it to give you the most suitable word for this context. Most of the times, our AI friend will ask you some follow-up questions like, would you like to see some more synonyms of that word or something along these lines, and you can totally follow its lead. Personally, I prefer discovering synonyms organically on my own, but sometimes ChatGPT will offer me a humorous version of that same word, and you know what, if it's good, I'll take it. My personal theory is that your level of proficiency in a foreign language is determined by how many nuances and shades of meaning you can understand. And ChatGPT is a terrific tool for this. Going back to the topic of proper formal dictionaries, there are also times when they fall short. The biggest example that comes to mind is slang. I mean, I do not expect to see the word riz on the pages of Longman Dictionary. Do you? In this case, ChatGPT is a great reference point because not only can you ask it to give you the meaning of the word and how it made its way into modern pop culture, because yes, it can do this too, and it's actually pretty cool, but you can also use it to basically get an unlimited number of example sentences. As many as you need to feel 100% confident that if you want to use it in real life, you will use it correctly if the spirit moves you so. Another point that I would like to touch on is AI-generated texts. Now, we usually have two options when it comes to reading. We're either relying on texts in a language textbook, which are selected based on our level, or we are reading full-on actual books, fiction or non-fiction in a foreign language. So where does AI come into play here? In language textbooks, there is usually very little choice when it comes to the lengths and the topic of the reading material. You get what you get and you don't get upset. However, if you do, you can always ask ChatGPT to generate texts for your level on whichever topic you like, no matter how niche. Let's say you're an intermediate Turkish learner with an interest in Neo-Ottoman architecture in Istanbul. No problem, ChatGPT will generate just the text that you're looking for. Plus, if it's too long, it will shorten it. If it's too difficult or not difficult enough, it will tailor it to your heart's content. More often than not, traditional textbooks present us with a set of topics that we have no interest in whatsoever. And sure, it's important to be able to discuss global warming or our growing phone addiction or something equally as trite, but it usually means that there is little room for us to talk about things that we truly care about. That's why it becomes our responsibility to find the necessary words and expressions for the topics that we would otherwise lack vocabulary for. All in all, if you're looking to level up your vocabulary through reading texts adapted to your level and your personal interests, look no further than ChatGPT. Personally, I use it to occasionally resuscitate my Spanish, and it's very low effort and the texts are engaging enough to keep me coming back to them more often than I do to any other resource. Last but not least, I want to touch upon grammar in the context of ChatGPT. Now, if you're learning a language that is radically different from your mother tongue, like Spanish to Chinese or French to Ukrainian, you can ask ChatGPT to explain tricky grammar in a way that makes sense for speakers of your language. Seriously, instead of trying to understand complex, dry textbook definitions that are much too abstract most of the time, you can get explanations tailored to the way that you think, often with great practical examples and comparisons that are really successful in bridging the gap between two languages. Seriously, try it out for yourself. It's super effective and you will thank me later. And this concludes my tips for today. I hope you found them helpful and that you maybe even picked up a couple of new ideas to try out yourself. I'd also love to hear if you use AI in your languages, and if so, what prompts you find most effective. Let me know and I'll see you in the next video.